Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar by Philanthropia on Open Data, the Secret of Successful NGO. I am your facilitator for the session, Preeti Thapa, and it's really wonderful to see audience joining us from various corners of the world. We are happy to partner once more with the Open Data Company to bring back the topic of utmost importance in today's landscape. Whereas an NGO, you all know the power of open data cannot be understated at all. NGOs, government, and donor institutes, everyone are recognizing the potential of open data to bring not only trust, but also informed decision making and create value for their social development work. So in today's webinar, we will be exploring how open data can become a game changer for your NGOs. So it is my pleasure to introduce our expert, Cecilia Wallen. She is the advisor at the Open Data Company. She will be sharing her expertise in the field of how open data can elevate your NGO's impact and simplify your fundraising goal. But before I hand over the platform to Cecilia, I would like to go over a few house rules to ensure a smooth session. First, this session is being recorded, which I think you all know, and it will be available at Philanthropia's official YouTube channel. We will be sending a follow-up email with the link. Following Cecilia's presentation, we will have a dedicated Q&A session. So please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A session. You will see a small icon at the bottom of the Zoom screen. And again, as a reminder, this webinar is open to all. And unfortunately, we won't be issuing certificate for attendance. But however, if you are looking for a certified course, please check out Fundraising Institute at www.philanthropia.org. So yeah, it's already 11 a.m. And so now I hand over the screen to you, Cecilia.
Thank you so much, Preeti, for that. And thank you so much for having me presenting about this important topic again. I will start by briefly introducing myself. As Preeti already mentioned, my name is Cecilia. I'm an advisor with the Open Data Company and Data for Development. I'm specializing in optimizing reporting and the use of open data for NGOs. I am the product owner of the Aida tool that I'll be talking about today. And in my work, I also support multiple NGOs in publishing and utilizing open aid data. And quickly then, Aida, the Aid Information Data Analytics Platform, which will be one of the focuses for today's session, is an online tool that can be used to publish and to view and use then open aid data. It's a company that is, or it's owned by the Open Data Company, which is in turn a joint venture between Zimmerman and Data for Development. The agenda for today's call, the presentation, we'll be starting off with talking about open data in general. What is it? Why do we use it? Why is it important for NGOs? And why is it important for fundraisers? We'll move into the Aida platform, talk about what it is, what features there are, how can it be used, and then thirdly go into specifically how can Aida be a tool that's useful for you in your role as fundraisers, and how can the specific functionalities enhance your work in your NGO. And as Preeti said already, we'll be ending this off with a Q&A session. Great. So starting then with the open data, it might seem like a tricky and intricate concept. There's a lot of data. What's open data? What does that mean? But just to put it a little bit in context, we can start by saying that data is everywhere today, and in today's world, it's more and more available. There's technology everywhere. It's developing really fast, and it holds a lot of possibilities. And in order to keep up with these developments and making use of these possibilities, it's important to learn how to harness this data and to use it for internal and external management of stakeholders, but also for daily operations. And existing open data sources can be a key resource to generate insights, and that's required to stay on top of events and make the informed decisions, use resources efficiently, and so on. So why should we, as actors in the NGO and the philanthropic sector, why should we bother with open aid data? That's a huge question with a lot of answers to it, but I've chosen 4 here that I think are especially important and that I want to highlight. So starting with impact here. Using open aid data can allow NGOs and organizations to share information with each other without being in direct contact. It allows for harmonization together with other organizations, which can increase impact. Secondly, we have efficiency. Publishing data that is making what you're doing, your operations, making that public and openly available, that helps coordination. If there's a project by NGO A doing something in one village, there's no use for NGO B to do the same thing in the same village. If there's already information out there about previous projects that are happening, it's possible for the second NGO to steer their resources. Maybe they take their project to a second village, which spreads the efforts and increases efficiency and impact. So it allows for a better coordination. Thirdly, there's an increasing demand on NGOs and on the development sector organizations to publish their data as a requirement with their funding. If you don't publish this in accordance to these requirements, you can risk losing your funding or having a harder time getting more and more funding on board. So from a compliance perspective, it's also really important. Fourth, we have transparency. In a lot of cases, NGO and development funding comes from taxpayer money, and increasingly taxpayers want to know what is happening with their money. What are the outputs that come from the money and the resources that they put in? So there's an increasing demand from the public for transparency in this allocation of funding, and also about the outcomes of the funding that is being allocated. So open data is important. We've established that, and data in general. So a lot of NGOs do collect a lot of data already. There's data collected on, for example, performance or results of projects. The financial data is collected, but it's not enough to just collect it. There's looking into the research. There's a study from 2019 that shows that 90% of nonprofits do gather a lot of data, but only 5% of them use it in their daily operations. So there's a bit of a mismatch there, where we can see that there is data available, but it's not being utilized. making use of all this data that is collected and reported will then increase these points that we talked about before. It will increase effectiveness. It will enhance coordination as well as efficiency, and promote learning between NGOs, between projects and programs and funding agencies to increase program sustainability and integration with other programs. So specifically then for fundraisers, we've talked about open data and the importance of data for the nonprofit community and the NGO sector in general, but specifically for your role as fundraisers, I'd like to say that open data is, for fundraisers, a sea of opportunities that's created from a team effort of collaboration. So open data is an opportunity in the sense that it helps fundraisers identify opportunities for funding. It helps identify gaps in funding or in project implementation. It can help identify overlaps if there are multiple projects happening within the same sector in the same place. And identifying these points also in turn helps foster philanthropic or nonprofit work that is need-based, efficient, and results-driven. But this doesn't happen, or the second part of this, the first thing I shared here about collaboration. The open data is available because someone has put it out there. Project managers, M&E officers have gone through the effort of publishing this data. So it is, in its essence, a team effort. Where does the data come from? It comes from you. So it's important to increase the quality of the data that is available. It's important that we all see our role in contributing to this pool of data. So, moving on to the Aida platform, I'm just going to give a brief introduction about what it is, and then it will be followed by some more concrete examples with about the functionalities and features and so on. So Aida is a platform. An abbreviation of Aid Information Data Analytics, and it's a platform where its functionalities are essentially divided into two groups. I would say one which allows nonprofits to publish their data, to put it out there, to contribute to this pool of open data. And the second part is to visualize it, to view it, to use the data that has been published. So Aida does both of those parts of the open data use cases, you can say. So the goal behind Aida is to, we aim to unlock the potential and the richness of open aid data, and providing tooling for anyone, where we really want to make open aid data as accessible and as user-friendly to everyone. So little to none IT skills are required. It's a user-friendly tool, very intuitive. I will show you some examples of this in a second. And on Aida, you can access, you can use, you can search and analyze total aid interventions, all the open data that is published, you can access on Aida. So there's data that's published by over 1,500, I think, development agencies worldwide, from the big governmental donors, multilateral institutions, down to the smallest grassroots organizations publish their data, and they're all contributing to this rich pool of resources that is available for you to use. And the beauty of Aida is that all of this is available in one place. So it's as a one-stop shop for open aid data, which is looking to enable organizations to identify funding opportunities, which can be used to approach funders, and it can also, we like to say that Aida adds value to the cause of the organization and not to bureaucracy, in the sense that it's a really tricky tool to get used or to start using, and so on. Looking at the symbols at the bottom of this slide here, some highlights that Aida does. It makes information accessible on donors and their funding. You can get an easy overview of all actors in a country or in a thematic area. You can sort of get a track record of donors and other organizations. What have they been doing? What's their core mission? What can we tell from the projects they have been funding previously? Aida can help you reduce the time to find available funding, and that it can sort of steer you into the correct or applicable donors that suit your own organization and your operations. Aida can support you as an organization in increasing your success rate by decreasing the time it will take to find your donors. And lastly, it's possible to derive insights from Aida using this open data that can be used to in your data reporting, in the annual reports, and so on. You can create visualizations on Aida, that can be used to enhance your reporting and your funding applications as well. Sorry, I think I went back. So diving even deeper into how Aida can be used as a fundraiser, here's where I'm going to be giving some more concrete examples on the platform, how it can be used. As a fundraiser, we can look at the fundraiser persona as on two different levels. We have probably a fundraiser at the head office of a more global, larger organization. What's important for that persona, the head office fundraiser, it's important to have insight into overall spending, as well as the performance of public funding for aid. So that's maybe the side of the data that this persona is going to vent into. Whereas we also, on the other hand, we have the local office fundraiser, and for them, it's much more important to have insight into local donors, project spending in specific sectors maybe, and trying to look into where are there opportunities, where might there be gaps, and where can we fit into this NGO space. So if you're visiting the Aida platform, this is the first view that you will get. It gives you an overview of global outgoing commitment for a specific time period. If you wish, it can give you there at the top there, you can see that there are a bunch of different filters that you can use if you're interested in getting the very high overview of what is happening in the aid sector or in the development world funding wise. So yeah, this is the first step here, and the darker the color, the more money it represents, so to speak. You can see that at the bottom graph as well. And then from the Explore page, you can either search your way to where you want to go, but it's also possible to explore it in the sense that you choose a country that you're interested in. So from the map, for example, maybe your organization is active in Afghanistan. You're interested in seeing what donors are actually active within this country where I want to apply for a grant, for example. Let's say that you're an NGO that starts from zero, really. You have a great idea, you see a need in your community, and you need to find someone to fund your project. So what you can do then is you go into the country you're interested in being active within, and then you can sort of diminish the time period if you want to get the most recent data, and here you can get an overview of the donors that are active within the country you're interested in. So here we're looking at the table view, or the visualized view, so a graph. It's also possible to get it as a table view. But this view is quite handy as it visualizes the size also of the donors. So we can see that we're looking into a lot of Canadian donors in Afghanistan for the specific time period that we have decided to look at. And the insights that can be derived from this graph is that if I want to execute a project in here, it's likely that the Canadian agencies have grants that fit this purpose, or this geographical context that I'm interested in working within. So that's what this overview can give you. For example, it's also possible to maybe you're not as or if you want to sort of specify the information even further, you can go into the sectors part of Aida. So you see the different tabs in the top here. So we can look at the sectors. So in what sectors are money being invested in Afghanistan over the years, or over the time period that we have chosen. So you can see that quite a lot is being invested in the health sector, which is the pink one. There's also quite a lot of money being invested in the productive sectors. And from there, you can sort of see the information you could get out from this graph is, okay, so if I want to execute a project within the health sector, and I have found, and I need to find a donor that is likely to be willing to fund this, I can look into the Canadian grant giving, or the Canadian grant agencies, and that is likely an overlap of funding opportunities here. And another interesting information that can be useful to have is to look at trends over the years, right? So we might have, we can look at the overview of donors in a specific year, but if we want to see, is it trending upwards or downwards? Is it still a good chance that we're going to get funding within this country, or what are the trends over the last couple of years? So we can see here that there is, now we're looking at Mali. So we have set, we're looking at the outgoing commitment to Mali over the years. And what we can see is that there's already interventions planned for ahead of time. So there's planned projects that will be executed already or even in 2027 that have funding. We can see that there was a dip in funding between 2015 and 2020, but that it might be on the rise again. And I'll tell you also that the data that is here is forward-looking, in the sense that as soon as an organization knows that they're going to get money, they can report that already. So that's why we have sort of a forward-looking graph here, so that we know already now, we know that in 2027 there are projects in Mali that are going to receive money, which can be quite useful as well to keep in mind, to get an overview of the aid landscape in the country that you're interested in. I also want to show you this, which is something that it's a work in progress for us, and that we sort of build this custom for organizations that are interested in specific donors. And so, for example, we can, if your NGO are, you know that you're interested in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Netherlands, because they have historically been giving out a lot of grants that have, maybe you have received grants from them before. You operate within Ethiopia and you're interested in looking at a specific time period. We can sort of get all the information about this donor in this country over the years in one dashboard for you. So, and if you were to want to change the country, we can go into Kenya or Nepal or any country really. You can change the time period and so on. So you can get a overview of the specific donor that you're interested in. And this is something that we're, as I said, working on implementing on Aida, but this is all data that is available there. So if you're interested in looking at these things, you can create these graphs on your own, or you can sort of soon, hopefully, you'll be able to get this view as it looks right now. And I want to go into another functionality on Aida that is quite useful for fundraisers, especially if you're looking at staying up to date with what is happening in a specific sector, a specific country, from a specific donor. There are two functionalities that sort of work together that we call bookmarking and data alerts. They're both visible on this page here. So the way it works is that you search, you find a page on Aida that you're interested in staying up to date with. For example, you might be really interested in funding over the years in Mali. So you search, you find this page on Aida, and what you do after that is that you click this little, or you click a bookmark, you bookmark the page, and it will end up in your own page where you can sort of keep these pages. So it's essentially creating shortcuts to these filtered pages that you have deemed important for your organization. Because if you're trying to stay up to date with 5 different donors in 3 different countries, and you're interested in every sector, or in both health, economic, productive sectors, that easily adds up to a lot of pages to stay up to date with. But what this feature allows you to do is to create shortcuts to it. And what you can do by clicking the little bell to the right of the field. So what I've bookmarked here is donors in India, or a specific donor in India. And if I click the bell to the left of this row, it will activate data alerts, meaning that I will, on a weekly basis, I will receive an email update to the email address I put in when I created my account, with any updates that have happened within these pages I've bookmarked. So, for example, there's this donor has published that they're giving out money to another, or to a new organization. They've published this reported that we're giving money for the next 10 years. We're going to be funding this project in this country, for example. And then you will receive an email that includes this information, as well as all the other updates in the other pages you have bookmarked. And this, excuse me, this is, as I said, quite useful to optimize and make more effective and efficient the staying up to date, although or while still making use of this vast amount of data that is available. So if we're looking at how to join AIDA, we will be sharing links and everything with you afterwards. But AIDA has a couple of different options on how to use it and how to join. We have a free account where you can log in and you can look at all the data, you can do all the filtering and so on. You can also publish your own data if you want to on that in that account type. So that's the leftmost one, free publisher is what we call that. For the second one, the standard option, if you opt for that one, you also get the bookmarks and data alerts feature included in that package. And we also have the premium one, which includes a bit of more support, a bit more functionalities and more users, for example. But we have a special offer for Philanthropia clients that if you sign up for this free trial for 1 month for the standard package or the premium one, we will give you a free demo, a personal demo of the tool. We'll help you set up your data alerts and your bookmarks and sort of try to tailor them to your specific needs. And we'll send out more information about this later. But if you're interested, you'll send an email and we can set up a meeting and together set up your account and your bookmarks and data alerts, so you can get a feel for how this would work in your organization. Great. I'll just briefly go through some of AIDA's track record and what we have been doing in the past and what we're doing. So our expertise lies in this helping publishing this open A data. EAT is the format, you can say, of the data. We support in the use of data for informed decision making and the use and leverage of open data, which is what we've been talking about today. And we have quite a lot of experience with working with large multilateral and governmental organizations, as well as grassroots organizations. The board of directors consists of the CEO, Mike Bloom, and the CTO, Siim Vassen, who bring the sort of business and NGO side from Mike's side, as well as the technical side is what Siim brings. So they are the management directors. I see that there's a lot of questions that have been coming in. I'm really happy about that. So Preeti, should I just start addressing them one by one, or do you want to pick some out for me?
Yeah, sure. So I
Thank
just can read out the question for you. We have like a couple of questions in our Q&A session. Again, everyone, please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A session if you have any. The first question is from Annie. She says, thank you for this session. It's such a new topic for me, and I'm eager to learn more on why, as a small NGO, we need to know more about open data and how we can benefit.
Great. Thanks, Annie, for your question. So the reason why you should be using open data is, I touched on it a little bit today, but it's really, it holds so many opportunities. It can allow you to draw insights from and experience from other organizations, which can be especially important if you're a small NGO. Maybe you don't run tens of or 20, I don't know how many projects a year, but you run one project at a time, and it can take a while to build experience around what's working, what's not working, and so on. So open data can sort of be this experience for you, both around how to actually manage your projects. That's one part, but then the other part is also to how can you perhaps get more funding and allow for more projects to come in. I hope that that answers it. But it's in essence, it's a great learning opportunity to learn from other people's experience, and to also look ahead and see how you can benefit from other funding opportunities and so on in the future.
So in the same topic, we have like another question asking, is it okay to start small and share just a couple of easy to handle data set first and then expand as we get better at it? I think it's supposed to be about publishing their data on platform like
Yeah. I think that's a really, really great question, and also a great suggestion. Because yes, that's what I would really encourage that. So the short answer is yes, that's absolutely okay, and to take that as an opportunity to learn and to how is it used, because if you start small, maybe you find it easy and it's easy to scale, and if you think it's hard and you can only I want to say that with the citation marks, that's you can only publish a little bit, that's still a lot more than nothing. And even the smallest bit is contributing to increasing this pool of knowledge that we have talked about. And that also to the previous question, any information that is put out there can be used for learning purposes and to just improve the entire sector, which is what we all want.
So the other question is, can open data help dealing with big data? It's from Stafford. So yeah.
So big data in terms of, let me see if I have the vocabulary for this. So open data, maybe I can approach it like this. Open data doesn't have a specific scale to it. Open data can be at a small scale, like the previous question, but it can also include these more big data, user behavior and so on. Anything that is published and openly available counts as open data. So I should mention this also, the open data that is available on Aida is published according to a specific standard. And so that's the open data that we're talking about on Aida and specifically in the aid community. But there is other open data as well that can be used in the aid sector as well. So this big data, I don't have any specific examples right now, but if there are, I don't know, user behaviors or whatever from other data sources, that can also be count as open data and can be used to improve your operations.
So the other question is from Margaret. This is good information. How often is it updated, and how do you collect and update this data, especially for donors that tend to be volatile?
Yeah, thanks. So the way the publication or the uploading of the data works on Aida is that we, if you sign up to the platform, we provide you with a set of spreadsheet templates where you fill in your different data bits. It's also, before you do that, you also sort of have to register as a publisher with the EAT registry, this information that we have on Aida, I think. So you'll be able to access it from there, and I'm happy to explain further. But so you have to register as a publisher. You get these spreadsheet templates where you fill in your data, and then you upload it on Aida. After it's been uploaded, it is available. So how often it's updated, it depends on when do the organizations and donors upload their data into this. So this data becomes sort of, it's accessible in a cloud storage space that's then visualized on Aida. So it depends on how often do organizations publish their data, how often do they upload it, that's how often the data is updated. And for the second part of the question, what could you please repeat that?
She's asking like how this updated data, especially for donors that tend to be volatile, meaning like, I think she wants to know like what kind of information are we, is it okay to submit through Aida?
So if we're talking about sensitive information, maybe, which is, it's absolutely possible that that's the case. It can be repressive governments or just sensitive information in other cases. It's possible to sort of anonymize that to whatever extent is possible or is necessary, sorry. So that's sort of up to you, and that's why so anything that is put out there goes through you, and there are no requirements on that you have to leave all of these details in order to be able to publish. I hope that answers.
We have like a very similar question from David. Question about the platform. How do you maintain, update the data on the platform? Do you scrap the donor's website, or do they submit the information to you annually? So you have already answered that. So the data is coming from the donors, the organization themselves, not from Aida.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true.
The other question about the platform is, can we get a demo of the platform? How can we send a request to you, Cecilia?
Yes, I'm very happy to give a demo of the platform, including the publication part that I didn't really focus that much on today, but I see there's interest, so I'm happy to provide that as well. And you'll get my email address from Preeti after this webinar, so you're very welcome to just send me an email, and we can set up a quick demo and talk about what sort of use of Aida would be suitable for your organization. So I'm happy to provide that.
Another question from Eric. Aida tool use cost minimum 2.250 euro per year. How can we afford that? Yeah, money is always an issue for a small NGO. So what do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I understand that it's not maybe, I mean, getting these additional tools isn't always what small NGOs can afford. So that's why we also do have the free version of, you can just sign up, you can still access all the data, it's still there. Things that you sort of can't use with the free version is the saving of data, but all the data is still there. So if you can search for the same things once a week if you want to, and then you can sort of manually check if there have been updates. So I know we're well aware that this is an issue for a lot of NGOs, but that's why we're still choosing to keep the data available for anyone. It's just some functionalities making it a bit smoother and easier and less time consuming to use if you have the paid version. But all the data is still there, so I would still encourage you to use that if you're interested.
So Valerie is asking, will we have the access to recording? Yes, the session is being recorded and it will be published on our Philanthropy official website, and we will be sending a follow-up email with the recording and also email for Cecilia, where you can contact her for the demo and all the other questions that we won't be taking today. So another question from Wally, how do NGOs ensure the accuracy and reliability of the open data they provide, and what mechanisms are in place to validate and verify the authenticity of these data?
That's a great question. So from a technical standpoint, there are some requirements that the data need to adhere to in order to be able to being published. So it needs to, the transaction needs to have a date, so we know where it went from. It has to have a provider and a receiver, so we know where they, between where does it, the money flow, for example. But the sort of the content, the amounts of the transactions and so on, this is checked. I'd say there are a couple of different scenarios. It's firstly being checked by the organization itself when they upload it. So that is sort of their responsibility. But in a lot of cases, also organizations that publish have their donor checking the data as well. So to sort of, and that is sort of the accountability mechanism, having the donor using their reporting as the sort of single source of truth, how or to check where has the money gone, what outputs have the results led to. So there's no sort of overarching quality check in place, but it's up to each organization to publish a high quality data, which is then oftentimes checked by their donor who is asking them to publish.
Okay, so Dr. Narayan is asking something similar. How do you evaluate the reliability of data such as census data and educational data? In Nepal, it has become an issue of debate.
Yeah, no, so I'd say it's the same answer here, really. That it's open data has both the benefit and the flaw, I would say, of it being open, is that it's really up to the individual organization that publishes the data to ensure that the quality is high. So that is where it's we have to sort of put trust in the organizations that do the publication, but there are, as I mentioned, some other accountability mechanisms in place, such as they want to produce the right numbers for their donors, and so on. But on the other hand, having with the benefit of not having a rigid a quality control mechanism in place is that a lot of data can be published, because it would be impossible to have sort of a quality controller that checks all the data, goes back and forth with all of them. So then we would have a significantly smaller pool of data, and it wouldn't allow us to do all these things that we can do now.
So I think we are already in 1 hour mark. We'll just conclude this session. with one more question, which seems very interesting to me. So Bina is asking, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely is it that we will attract new donors by being transparent with our own data?
Yeah, that's absolutely an interesting question. I think it depends on quite a lot of different things. Firstly, who is your donor? Because there are some donors that are really adamant about publishing data and being transparent about it and so on. For example, the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs have this reporting in open data as a requirement for anyone receiving funds from them. So if you can sort of show a good track record of doing this, that is that's a big plus on their in their book, at least. I think that also what being transparent about what you've done previously can sort of yeah, it will show a good track record that we have our stuff in order. We know what we're doing. We know where the money comes from, where it's going, and what impact it leads to. So, I mean, it's absolutely a sort of a matter of interpretation, maybe, and probably different from donor to donor. But being able to show that you know what's going on and what's happening, I would say is a big strength.
So yes, I think we can conclude. That's all the questions I see in the Q&A session, and I think we can conclude the webinar now. If you have any more questions, please feel free to email us at info@philanthropia.org, and we'll make sure that Cecilia gets all the questions. And yes, thank you all for joining the webinar today, and it was great seeing people from Uganda, India, from all over the world today. And I hope the webinar has answered a couple of your questions. Yeah, we will be sharing the follow-up email with the recording of the presentation, and again, the email address that you can contact Aida with. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. And Cecilia, thank you so much for your time again. And we hope we can do more webinars like this in future too.
Thank you for your time and for everyone's attendance as well. I'm really happy that you got to listen to this. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. And we will see you in next webinar. Thank you.